Hi, welcome to another Future Occasions Wisdom Wednesday. The conversation all about events. So today I'm really excited, and that's my word, excited. I'm really excited to continue with our Real Talk series. And today I have with me, I'm going to call you guys church event planners. So I'm excited to have them with me, and I'm just going to introduce them to you. So I have with me, I have Jennifer Watson. Just wave, Jennifer, so they know who you are. There she is. And I have Marcia Lake with me. And then, of course, I have my co-host, which is Latavia, and I am Janice, the founder for Future Occasions and of Future Occasions Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you guys for being here. I am really happy, and we're going to have a conversation today. Feel free, just sit back, relax, enjoy yourself. Today we are missing Rosanna because, of course, Rosanna is at the church and she's doing a food drive right now. So she's helping out with that event. So she sent her hello to everyone. So let's get started on this. So let's start off, guys. Let's tell them a little bit about you, which church you go to, what position or events that you've done in the past, and what you're presently working on. So we can start with the J. We can start with Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. So presently I am a member at the Toronto West Church. Presently my position is the Seniors Ministry Director. Past events past ministries that I've been involved in has been women's ministry. I've done AY at another church that I was a member at. Mm-hmm. I've done stewardship. My biggest time that I spent in ministry actually was with women's ministry, as I also worked a little bit with the Ontario Conference doing the young women's ministry department, helping out and helping with planning and executing of their different ministries. So yeah, so that's it with me for now.
Thank you. And Jennifer? I mean, Marcia, I just spoke to Jennifer.
Yes. So I have been involved probably for the longest period of time in music ministry. But I have also been a part of AY ministry and women's ministries, to some extent in leadership and other ways. I was the elder in charge of women's ministries, but I spent the longest time in music ministries. I think for the good part of 20 years, I've been involved in music ministries, which I really love.
Okay, that's awesome. You guys have been really busy. So were you guys always in the church? Born, raised in the church, or you were?
I was born and raised in the church. My grandmother, in fact, on my mother's side, became an Adventist in her early 20s. And my mom was raised Adventist, and myself and my sisters raised Adventist. And so I've been around for a long time.
I was born and raised in the church. I did have a period of time where I wasn't a consistent attendee. However, my ministry and my membership has been about 30 years. I've actually been dedicated in doing ministry and staying connected.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, we've all been in the church for a long time. I came in at 19, so I know about the different ministries, and the reason why I'm calling you guys planners. Actually, I'm going to go as far as calling you guys spiritual planners, because I think there's a difference between planning secular activities or events compared to planning church events. So if you don't mind, do you even consider yourself a planner?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I kind of like your phrase spiritual planner. That I like that phrase. But, you know, I mean, the purpose for doing this is to enlighten, enrich spiritually the members of the church. So I don't feel like I'm a planner per se. I feel like I'm just doing the leading of God, that He has led me to do this, and I'm doing it for that purpose, and not necessarily for doing it for planning or to be called an event planner. So, but I like your phrase, planner. I like that. I like.
I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it, because I'm thinking of all the activities that you do within your ministries, and there's a lot of planning to that activity, a lot of coordinating to it. There's a lot of sourcing of people, and that's all a part of planning. What's your take on that, Mars?
Um, sorry, I wouldn't call myself a planner, but I do agree with you that there's a lot of planning involved. But I would say that because music is such a huge part of worship, it's definitely a very spiritually focused ministry, because it sort of sets the tone of worship. So I think of it more in that way. But there are events that I have planned, you know, within my ministry term. Yeah.
Okay. So what makes what you guys do so much different from, okay, say myself, because I've planned events in the church as well, but more on a secular level. So what do you consider, what makes yourself so different?
Well, I would say the big difference between planning on a secular level and in the church is like we're doing it to enhance and enrich the spiritual aspect of our members. So we're doing it to keep them connected, to keep them involved, to keep them uplifted spiritually, not necessarily for the pay or the praise or the pat on the back, just mainly just to keep them connected as church congregation members, to keep them connected mainly to God rather than to doing it for the fun of it all. You know, it's an enhancement to, as Marcia said, worship. Pretty much is what it is. It's a huge enhancement to worship, and not necessarily to do it for the enjoyment aspect.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out there because I know, as you're saying, you're volunteering to do this work, but you guys also have your full-time jobs, you have your family. What inspires you to keep going? Because I know this can lead to burnout as well. So what inspires you? Any of you can answer that.
What inspires us to keep going? For me, music has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And so for me, my love for the music, for the singing, the joy it brings not only to me but to members of the congregation, that's what really keeps me going. I've gone through periods of burnout, and over the past 20 years, sadly, right? Past 20 years, I've sort of taken maybe 4 years where I wasn't, leading that department.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just was like, I need a break. I don't want to. I need to delegate stuff, or I need to, let somebody else take on part of it. But I just love. I love the music. I was driving home just now in my car, and I was listening to Toronto Mass Choir doing their Christmas album, which I was once a part of, and Toronto Mass Choir, that is. And I was just like belting it in the car, and I love the I love that part of worship. Yeah, so that's what keeps me there.
Yeah, it's so funny. You're talking about, you know, the music up loud and belting it. And I just know when I'm in the car with Vernon, that's his thing, eh? He's having church. He's just belting the music in his car, you know, and stuff. So I do understand that part of, you know, the inspiration and why you do it.
And I would go on to
ahead.
say, Janice, that, you know, because this is church, and I'm sure Jennifer understands this really well, and we all do, is that because it's a church event, there is no financial gain. There is like, for the amount of time that goes into the very, you know, the things that we do, it can't be for money, because it just, you know, in our environment, in our church environment, people don't get paid or remunerated for the most part for what ministries they're involved in, and not to throw any shade on people who do get you know, paid for what they do within the church, but it just can't be for that. Otherwise you have to really love it to stay with it, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, I get really inspired by that. You know, I love to serve, and I get very inspired by giving back and motivating, and I get inspired when I see members excited about the things that they're taking out of what I'm giving them. That really, really inspires me, and that's one of the things that keeps me going, because I have a big heart for serving, and so I will do it wholeheartedly because I have a big heart for serving, and I like to see people get closer to God by me giving or showing or motivating or informing them of things. Because I mean, when you do these, Marcy's doing music, and it's all about music. For me, I did women's ministry for a long time. I'm now doing seniors. And it's just all about what I give them to motivate them and get them going and inspire them. And, you know, and that's what keeps me going. When I get someone calling me and saying, oh, can you help me with this? Or, oh, I really like that. Or, you know, we did a couple of years ago, we did this ministry that it's a ministry that came from the US called God in Shoes. And the thing that really inspired me watching them was these ladies from the community coming in, putting on the shoes, getting excited, and having to stop and pray with them and talk with them, and just hearing their stories was the most inspiring, touching thing for me. And that's what keeps me going and keeps me wanting to do this. It's just to serve, to motivate, and to just show love. And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's such an inspiration. And that's really nice. Like I'm really glad about it, because I've experienced that as well. But what are the difficult side of being in church ministry or planning a church event? What's the difficult side of that?
Wow, it gets hard when a lot of things you need foot soldiers, you need people helping. And a lot of times it gets hard and difficult when you don't have that body, that working together body. I mean, you know, Christ's body is working together. The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, they work together. And so the hard part is when you just don't have that cohesiveness, and you know, you kind of lose your motivation when you don't have that coming togetherness. Because I think in a church that is so important for us to come together. And when it doesn't come together, you kind of get a little, you know, disappointed. But one of my mottos, actually, one of the things, I think, Janice, you may remember this: if you reach one, that's amazing. For me, if I touch one person, I'm okay. If I've touched one person, I'm okay. But, you know, sometimes you put things together and you put together for, you know, a group and it doesn't work out sometimes. And it will make you lose track. But like I said, if I've touched one person, I am good.
Okay. So what makes planning, I know Marcia, you do cantatas, you know, part of your music ministry. What makes it difficult for you when you're planning? What are the obstacles that you face when you're planning this at Malton Church? What are some of the stuff, or in general, period?
Yeah, so I'll use the cantata as an example. So our church for the past probably 30 years has done an annual Christmas program. And in the earlier years, it was birthed out of our senior choir, our adult choir. And then when I started in the position, then I began to incorporate more of the other choirs in the church. So the youth choir, the children's choir, as well as other singers in our local church and as well as outside. And I think the challenge has been, some of the challenges would be to get everyone feeling that they're involved, and that the senior members didn't lose that tradition as, you know, what they wanted it to look like, but also incorporating new ideas, new ways of presenting, new ways of involving people. So some of the, you know, like basic challenges would be, you know, because we went from, so a cantata, back a little bit. A cantata is usually just a concert, right? Just singing, right? Cantata is a Latin word for singing. And when I started with the position, I turned it into more of a drama with music. And I was inspired, you know, by Toronto West Easter production, and wanted to bring that more of a holistic, full experience to that tradition that we had at Malton, that we have at Malton. So, you know, getting a script, getting the right scripts, getting casting, staging, working on a really tight budget. Those were some of the big challenges, I think.
Okay. And I know you guys, like you said, it's volunteer. And I know one of the things with volunteering is sometimes you're not getting the full participation from everyone. So how do you, and I know Jennifer said, if she reach one, how do you guys manage that challenge? I mean, a cantata is a big thing. A seniors ministry, especially at Toronto West, is a big thing. I know when I'm doing my secular event, I have Latavia to help me, and I'll bring other coordinators on to help me for the different aspect. Like the Bible says, you know, your hands, your feet, everything is working together on one accord. How do you guys manage that when you don't get enough people to assist you? And I have a feeling one of the answers is going to be by the grace of God. Okay.
Pretty much. I can get very resourceful. I like to pull people in, and I mean, so far, if you throttle around Toronto West right now, people will tell you that I've been pulling them in. So I have a team, and the team can be very busy with their lives and such. And when something has to get done, trust and believe, I am calling whoever I can find to assist, because we're one, right? And so I usually try everything I can to pull bodies in and recruit people and ask and just say I need help. So, you know, and it's pretty good trying to get people out to help. They're always usually very willing to assist. So yeah.
You know what really helps, I find, is getting people on board early. Although we, you know, as people of color tend to be a bit slow sometimes in getting things, on, like being early and all that sort of thing. It really helps with some people, at least, to ask them early. So you've got those reluctant actors, those reluctant singers, those people who are really busy with their lives, and they can't necessarily help you all the time. But if you ask them early enough, and if you coax them, I find that has been a really good help. None of these things that we do, we can do by ourselves. There's so much to the things that we do that we have to rely on other people. And it's not, as I said, these are not paid things that we're doing. So we have to bring in as many people as possible because I think people get really excited about ministry when they can see themselves in roles that bring out their talents.
Yes.
And whether it's, whether it's greeting somebody at the door, or whether it's, designing a flyer for something that you're going to do, but whether it's in the background or it's in the foreground, people, they kind of perk up. There was a young man, for instance, last year, and I won't make this long, but last year, who I asked to be in the cantata, really quiet guy, nice guy, tall. I needed a strapping Roman soldier, and and I said to him, that I think you can do this. You got the physique for it, and you don't have a lot of speaking to do in this part. Would you take this on? And he's like, yeah, I think I can do that. And then, the lighting up in the eyes, and just, that is an example of just people joining in to make it everyone's ministry. And you're not doing it. Yeah.
So one of the things that, well, we all know we're in it. We're in a pandemic right now. And this pandemic is affecting the entire world. There isn't anybody that can say this pandemic hasn't affected. Every newscast, everything that we talk about, people are talking about the pandemic because the world has changed. How has this changed for you guys in church and planning event? We're in the Christmas season. How have things changed, or what are you guys doing right now during this time to help with the inspirations, with the help with getting people involved? What are you doing right now?
All Zoom. We're doing it right now. It's called Zoom. So this new virtual connection has been wonderful for me. We're trying to connect to them virtually. As you do know, our seniors now have tablets, a few of them, and there's going to be more being given out. And we're trying to use it as an instrument to get them to connect. They get excited. They're very excited about coming on and, learning how to use this thing that they don't know how to use. And, they're connecting that way. And I think they feel some sort of a level of joy, knowing that they're able to actually touch buttons and it works. Right? So that's been our new connection. And phone calls, you gotta keep in touch with people. You gotta communicate with them by calling. So that's been a lot of what we've doing. And I've had some foot soldiers doing visits and dropping baskets off. And, we recently did an antibacterial and a face mask drop off. So, we're connecting with them as best as we can during this time, as creatively as we can. Hopefully very soon there'll be more things happening with this tablet and the Zoom, and they'll be able to learn things and see things. And this is the climate that we're in right now, right? We gotta work with what we got, and this is what we got. Right?
Yeah, Jennifer makes an excellent point there. Zoom has been, and technology has been, our way of staying in touch, being able to still do some ministry. Normally our you know, our big Christmas program, the cantata, is the second week in December. And we, of course, couldn't do anything like that this year because, you know, it takes all the rehearsing and everything. And our services have been on Zoom ever since
March?
probably April.
Okay.
Yeah, and so last night we did the AY department actually led out and did a musical program on Zoom and invited all the families to present a piece or a testimony on Zoom, and that was our service last night. It was beautiful. They had nice, you know, nice little Christmas border around the frame of the shot, and it was very nice. And we can of course use these kinds of events to invite people who are not church.
Exactly.
Send them our link. I know that with seniors ministry as well, in our church as well as in Toronto West, that people who are not members of our churches have connected with those seniors groups. My mom is part of Toronto West, but she is she's participating in the seniors group at Malton Church.
Yeah, but she was on our Zoom on Wednesday.
Oh, that's great.
Thought we'll throw that in there.
Just thought I'd throw it in there.
She's double dipping.
That's okay.
And
I'm okay with that.
Yes, and I'm very happy because it's allowing seniors, for instance, to be very involved, feel connected to other people.
Yeah, and people are going cross-border. Some people are watching Jamaica Conference. People are just relaxed in their home, and they're going across the world to participate in the activities or events or ministries and so forth. I know Toronto West did a fundraising concert yesterday, and that was really good. ADRA did a fundraising concert. So a lot of us are going virtual right now, and we're reaching people that wouldn't have walked into our church.
Exactly.
Right? So that's a positive side of it. And I love the idea of, you know, learning new things, because this is totally new. I mean, a senior person picking up a tablet for the first time. Yes, we need patience, but, you know, imagine how their brain is going now because they're trying to figure out how to use this new technology with their grandchildren. And they're like, you know, that's really